Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming or Battlefield-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. To get the formalities out of the way real quick, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, or by sending me a Facebook and Twitter message. The first question for the day comes from Abby, and it is, do you think that Battlefront is just going to be a Battlefield game with a Star Wars reskin? I have heard this concern on the internet, and while there might be some truth to this, I'm sure that there is going to be some aspects of Battlefield that make their way on over into Battlefront. This is DICE we're talking about. They're going to fall back on the things that they're comfortable with, and what they're comfortable with clearly is the Battlefield franchise, but I think overall, for a couple of reasons, they are going to feel like a completely unique game. The biggest reason is that there isn't going to be the type of destruction that we've grown to expect in the Battlefield franchise. In an interview, DICE basically came out and said that it wouldn't be authentic to the Star Wars universe. I feel like this is a little bit of a cop-out. Like, let's be honest, this seems a little bit silly because there's destruction in Star Wars. Like, well, who are you kidding? There's explosions all over the place, but this is the excuse that they're giving, and so just in general, we can expect less destruction. Not only that, but they're gonna have a first-person and third-person mode. I would be very surprised if third person is just completely tacked on. Yes, there's going to be some strengths and weaknesses depending on which one you switch to on the fly. If you're switching over to first person, you're probably going to be able to reel in that recoil easier, but I would just be very surprised if third person wasn't viable whatsoever. And so because of this, as we all know, third person is in Battlefield, it's going to completely change the way that we approach combat. Third person is going to be amazing for peeking around corners. It's not only going to give you more field of view, but you are literally going to be able to peek around a corner without the enemy knowing that you're peeking around the corner. Not only that, but you're also going to be able to play as hero characters. You want to play as Darth Vader, that's absolutely going to be an option in Star Wars Battlefront. He's going to have a wide array of different weaponry and abilities compared to all of the other heroes, and then they're different from all of the normal stormtroopers and infantry that's going to be scattered around the map. And so it's for these three main reasons that while yes, there are going to be some similarities, at the end of the day, this is a first-person shooter created by DICE. They are going to fall back on what they're comfortable with, and that is the Battlefield franchise. Hopefully, when we start to see more gameplay, which I'm crossing my fingers is soon, I'm really crossing my fingers that on May 4th, we get to see some Star Wars Battlefront gameplay action. We'll get a good idea that yes, this is its own unique game. Maybe I'm completely wrong, maybe it will be a reskin, but my gut is telling me because of these three main reasons, it is going to be very unique, and in my opinion, that is a good thing. The next question comes from James, and it is, what do you think about the new trailer for Call of Duty Black Ops 3? Do you think that it's good? Well, initially, when I first saw the documentary-style trailer, I was really excited. I love the concept of human augmentation. Would you allow athletes to compete in the Olympics if they have some sort of augmentation? Would this have a dramatic effect on the way that wars are won and lost? What would be the human cost here? It basically sounded like Deus Ex, and I love that game. It's one of my favorite RPGs, and the fact that they're trying to tackle those types of concepts in the new Call of Duty is very intriguing to me. As soon as I saw the gameplay trailer, though, I was a little less impressed. It doesn't give the vibe of a next-gen game. I know it hasn't been announced just yet for the old-gen consoles. It's only going to be right now for the Xbox One, the PlayStation 4, and PC, but I wasn't getting that graphical fidelity that you would kind of expect from a next-gen experience. I know that graphics aren't anything, like, don't get me wrong, I get that, but it just doesn't seem like they're trying to push the envelope there. That said, though, I am going to reserve my judgment. This is Treyarch. I love Treyarch. I'm loving what they've been doing with the Call of Duty franchise. They're my favorite developer working on this series. But at least from that initial trailer, I wasn't as impressed as I was hoping that I was going to be. One thing I am excited for, though, is that it sounds like their movement system is going to be pretty much what Titanfall was with their parkour, but without the Titans. I loved Titanfall. Playing as a pilot was exhilarating. Their movement was really fast-paced. I thought that it added something to first-person shooters, but I just wanted them to expand upon it in Titanfall and have, like, pilot-only game modes. They had a few game modes later on, like it took like half a year for them to release it, but it sounds like we're going to be getting that in the new Call of Duty. So that gives me hope. I think that it has a lot of promise, but once again, I'm going to reserve my judgment until we learn a little bit more about it. The next question comes from John, and it is, what do you think about reworking the defensive field upgrade in Battlefield 4 so that the armor no longer affects sniper rifles? Scoring an upper chest shot at close range is no easy task as it is, and I feel like this moderate nerf may get people to use other field upgrades a little bit more. What's funny about this question is that this is actually what DICE created the field upgrade for. They, in an interview, I think a very long time ago, at least if memory serves, they talked about how they wanted the defensive field upgrade to combat aggressive recons. If you're getting destroyed by aggressive recons, I don't know why you would be, but if you are, you can slap on this field upgrade and have a little bit of an I win button, forcing the recon to get a headshot in those close encounter circumstances. That said though, I definitely would not be opposed if DICE decided to make some small tweaks to the defensive field upgrade perk. Overall, I hate in any first-person shooter that changes a weapon's damage model. I hate it in Battlefield, I hate it back in Call of Duty, because it leads to frustration because kills aren't consistent. What I loved about Battlefield 3 is that if you mastered a weapon and you knew what you were doing, you could feel when an enemy was going to die, and you could switch it over to your next target really quickly and take out multiple people back to back. This leads to competitive gameplay, at least for me. This is what makes a game really competitive, because it allows you to know when an enemy drops and you can make those split-second decisions to switch it over to your next victim. You don't really get that if you're able to change the weapon's damage model. It's a really big problem right now in Battlefield Hardline. The mechanic class with that armor insert gadget gives him a huge advantage on the battlefield. There has been numerous occasions where I've been trying to kill a mechanic. I thought I should have killed him 10 bullets sooner, but he's still alive and kicking because of that one gadget. Like, it's a little bit ridiculous. And while I don't think the defensive field upgrade is that crazy in Battlefield 4, I really would not be opposed if they change some things. If they don't want to change the damage model and they think that it is a good counter and they like the counter to snipers and the phantom bow, I don't know why they would want to counter the phantom bow as much. It's already completely worthless. But if they like that in the game, why not change it from the first field upgrade slot and make it further down the line? That way you can't just switch it over at the start of the round and have this advantage over those players. You're going to have to work with your team to unlock it. So maybe make it in the third or the fourth slot. In my opinion, that would be the best solution. It's kind of a win-win. They can keep it in the game. DICE doesn't really have to make a lot of sweeping changes to completely nerf it, but it would be a little bit more difficult for the players to achieve this I win button, at least against certain weapons. So that's my 2 cents. I wouldn't be opposed if they eliminate it from the game. That probably will never happen, but that would be one solution. The next question is, what do you think about having some Battlefield 3 maps remade into Battlefield Hardline? A map like Grand Bazaar would be awesome with cops and robbers, and with some changes, it would fit the theme as well. I don't know if this is the best idea. Not because I wouldn't love to play on those maps again. Like, I love Battlefield 3. All of those maps are awesome, and it's kind of hard to find servers that run them continuously in Battlefield 3. But I don't know if that'd be the best idea for Hardline, because they've already had a difficult time making this seem like it's not just a reskin of past Battlefield games. I mean, this has been one of the largest critiques of Hardline, that it just doesn't do enough to make it feel like its own entity. And if they made a DLC that was entirely devoted to the old maps, while once again, I wouldn't be opposed to it, I don't know if that would be a good thing for the image of the game overall. Who knows? Maybe that's exactly what the game needs. Maybe they should just stick with their guns, be like, no, we're a Battlefield game, we're gonna play on all old Battlefield maps, completely reskin it, give it a nice hardline theme. I don't really know how they would do that, but you know, they could try to do that and then add it on in. Maybe that is the solution. Maybe that is the way to get a lot more people playing because they want to experience those old nostalgic maps. But I'm not exactly sure. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think this would be a good idea? Would it get you to play Battlefield Hardline more if there was a lot of iconic maps like Sand Crossing, Grand Bazaar, No Shar Canals? If that was an upcoming DLC, does that sound good? Or would you much rather just go back to Battlefield 3 and play them there? But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's Sunday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. As always, if you would like to submit your own question for an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or by sending me a Facebook and Twitter message. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.